Can Donald Trump be prosecuted for any of the things that he's doing right now? And we know he has this immunity from the Supreme Court for acts that he commits while president, at least certain acts. People overstate what that opinion said. They say he has complete and total immunity to do anything. That's not technically true, but it is a horrible, horrible decision. One of the worst in American history, and it does give him very broad immunity to commit crimes as president. But is there anything that he's doing now that he could one day be prosecuted for? Now, he can't be prosecuted while he is president. Any prosecution would have to come after he leaves office, whether that's at the expiration of his term and he leaves, assuming he does. And I don't know that that's an assumption anyone should make, but for argument's sake. Or if he were impeached and removed from office, he could then be prosecuted. But he can't be prosecuted while he is a sitting president. Now, the Supreme Court has never ruled on that issue, but we have of course, it doesn't matter anyway, because as long as he's president, at least at the federal level, he wouldn't get indicted and prosecuted. Now, it is theoretically possible a state could bring a criminal prosecution against Donald Trump while he is president. And then, of course, the Supreme Court would have to weigh in on whether that could proceed. And we all know that there's no way the Supreme Court would allow a sitting president to be prosecuted, especially this sitting president, since this Supreme Court is the one that gave him that ridiculous immunity. So he would have to be out of office first. But can he be prosecuted after he leaves office for any of the crimes that he's committing now? And we all know he's committing crimes. I mean, he's doing it right out in the open. He is engaging in all kinds of bribery. We've talked about the plane from Qatar, not saying Qatar, sorry, it's too stupid. Qatar. We know the meme coin, which by sheer dollar figures as a bribery scheme just dwarfs that $400 million plane he got. And God only knows how many other crimes and bribery schemes he's got going on. So can he be prosecuted for any of that? Yeah, he can. Will he? I hope so, but I wouldn't put any money on that. But can he? Yeah, he can. For example, bribery. Any of these bribery schemes, he could be prosecuted for that. He has no immunity. That, as horrible as that Supreme Court decision was, he has no immunity for bribery. He has immunity for official acts. He has absolute immunity for doing things that are core constitutional functions of the office of president. He has a presumptive immunity, not total, but presumptive immunity that can be rebutted by prosecutors. But so he has presumptive immunity for any official acts as president, but he has no immunity whatsoever, none, for any acts that are outside any sort of official act of president of the United States, things that are just personal, not related to his job at all, or to the functions of the presidency at all. He could be prosecuted for any of those things, even if he commits them while in office. So bribery can in no way be said to be an official act of the president of the United States. In fact, bribery is one of the few specifically enumerated things that presidents shall be impeached and removed from office for: treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. So bribery is not protected, and he is certainly, it would appear, engaging in bribery on a scale that no politician in American history has even come close to engaging in. So yes, he could be prosecuted for any kind of bribery he is engaging in. And there are other things too. If he's committing crimes aside from bribery, which he's certainly committing with respect to all this crypto meme coin crap that he's doing, there's certainly bribery going on there. But if he's committing other crimes, with the meme coin, for example, he could be prosecuted for any of that. I mean, having a meme coin is not an official act. So there's lots of crimes that he may be engaging in right now for which he may one day, or can theoretically one day, be prosecuted regardless of that horrible Supreme Court decision. Now, will he be prosecuted for any of that? Like I said, I wouldn't put any friggin' money on it. I hope so. You know, I don't want to give out hope that this man will have the justice delivered upon him that he deserves. It's still possible. We need to get him out of office first, either at the end of his term, if he makes it that long. Not the healthiest guy in the world, seems to be deteriorating on a near daily basis, but who knows? Or if we impeach him and remove him from office, which is my hope. Don't know that we'll get there either. We would certainly not going to happen anytime soon. I can't imagine that there's anything he could do that would be so bad that this Congress would impeach him for, because this Republican Congress will never do any such thing unless the base of the Republican Party abandons Trump. You know, the hardcore cult, the people who vote in Republican primaries. Unless and until they abandon Trump, there's no chance that Republicans in Congress would ever impeach and remove him from office. Now, if those people turn on him for some reason, then yeah, that changes everything. That changes the political calculation for Republicans in Congress. And absolutely, I believe under those circumstances, we can impeach and remove him from office. But unfortunately, I don't see how these base Republican parties, these really, which is mostly made up of just the hardcore cultists, I don't think there's anything he could do to lose them. I mean, literally anything. I can't think of anything. I don't think murder on live TV would do it, you know? I don't think there's really anything he could do that would cause the cult to abandon him in sufficient numbers that it would change the political calculation for these Republican members of Congress. So, unless and until Democrats win back control of Congress in big numbers, now they don't have to have numbers so big that they themselves can get to the 2/3 needed in the Senate, 67 votes in the Senate to remove him from office. I don't think you need 67 Democrat senators, but you're going to need a lot. You're going to need to get close to that number to peel off enough Republicans to join you. And that's not at all impossible either, because remember, the last impeachment was bipartisan, both in the House and the Senate. There were Republicans in both chambers who voted to impeach him and remove him from office. So you don't need 67 Democrats, but you need a sizable majority, at least as things sit now. And so we're a year and a half away from that, from the midterm election. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about what would happen. Is there anything that he is doing right now for which he could one day, if God willing we remove this man from office, that we can prosecute him for? Because I get, people think that there's nothing he can do. There's no crime that he could not get away with, that he's completely and totally immune for anything he does while he's president. And that's simply not true. He could be prosecuted for so much that he's doing right now. Getting to that, first we have to get him out of office, and then we have to have prosecutors with relevant jurisdictions willing to bring the charges against him. Well, that's a whole lot of steps to get there, but it's possible, and it's certainly what I hope happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.